welcome to the Chit Chat Knits podcast. My name is Darcy, and I am the maker at Chit Chat Knits. I live in western Wisconsin, but today I'm at a different location. You can see things don't look familiar if you're a returning viewer, and that's because I'm visiting my son and grandkids in Madison, Wisconsin. Now, raise your hand if you've ever been to Madison, Wisconsin, because it is a beautiful, beautiful city. It has a lot of green space, and so there are beautiful parks, conservancies, bike trails, just a beautiful, beautiful city. And so I really love coming down here to visit and hang out with the grands and get to enjoy this beautiful city. Today, in this gorgeous city, it is hot. It is hot and humid. Today is June 15th and summer is here. Whew. So please excuse my wild and crazy hair, because that's what my hair does when it's humid. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So I had to record this morning before I step back outside, and it gets even bigger. Did you ever watch, if you watched Friends, there was an episode where they all went to some southern Mexico resort island somewhere, and Monica's hair got bigger and bigger and bigger, and I always feel like that. My Monica hair started here for the summer. Anyway, this is not a podcast about hair. This is a hot podcast about knitting. And so I titled this episode Wildflower Season because I said I'm in Madison, and there's a nature conservancy just a mile down the road here, and I love to trot. I'm not fast, very, very slow, but I love to trot down there, and it's all mowed with beautiful paths, and trot my way up and down the hills of the paths. This morning, when I was out there, the wildflowers were blooming. And so I just had to stop and take pictures. So I kept stopping, taking pictures, and that's what you saw on the intro of this video. All those beautiful wildflowers I kept seeing, and just had to stop and take pictures. My first finished object today also relates to wildflowers. But before I do that, can I just stop? And because this is the part I always forget, where you can find me. I always put it down in the notes, but I do want to stop and take a second. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry at Chitchatknits. And then also on Ravelry, I'm Knitterdat. That was my old Knitterdat or Ravelry name, handle, whatever. So I have Knitterdat plus Chit Chat Knits. You can also contact me at chitchatknits@gmail.com, and I have a website, chitchatknits.com. Again, all of that is in the description down below. So if you would like to contact me, I love hearing from you. I always ask you to leave comments, because I just love making new friends of knitters and connecting with knitters and crocheters and makers. Okay, wildflower. So I have a finished object, and here it is. It is my little wildflower tee that I modified. This is a little sweater for my granddaughter, and I did take a little picture. I will cover, her face is covered because I respect her parents' privacy. But let me show you what I did here. So this is a pattern by Wise Owl Knits. Now, I wanted to make it into a little cardigan. So I used the same measurements, the same stitch patterns, And I just added 7 steeking stitches in the middle here. Now, it worked out so well what I did in my 7 stitches. I did, in that 7, I did a purl, 2 knits, a purl, 2 knits, and a purl. So I had a purl on each end of my steeking stitches and a purl stitch in the middle of those 7. And why that worked out so well was because my outside purl stitches gave me a line to sew on, because I do like to secure, especially when it's superwash yarn. And then my purl stitch down the middle gave me the perfect place to cut. I will always do that when steeking a sweater from now on because it worked so well. So here's the front, here's the back, and I was knitting along, just riding in the car, talking with friends, and I was getting a little bored of stocking stitch and wanted to use a little more of the minis, so I just started doing checkerboard of each of the colors, so they go the opposite direction of that's up here. That's all that is. And then cut it, put my bands on, cut it, and then just added the little I-cord bind off on the top edge. So it is not great color work, not perfect color work, but it's a little girl sweater and it's really cute on her. Of course, now it's 90 degrees out, so there's no way she's gonna wear it, but she has a little blue dress that it'll look adorable with. So I told her when she goes to church, she can wear a little blue dress with this sweater and it'll be super cute. So that is my Wildflower tee. And again, the pattern designer is Wise Owl Knits. So you can find the pattern through her. Finished object number 1 and finished object number 2 is a pair of socks. I think I showed you one. I had one done last time, and now I have both of them done. And these are a fun new pattern. My goal here was to make a pair of shorty socks. And I'm calling these the Katie socks because the name Katie means pure. And my dear friend is Katie, so these are named after her. And to me, these socks were a pure joy to knit because I love the stitch pattern. They went together really fast. They're very soft, and these will go to Katie. Now, I do have to tell you that after making the first one, I talked about it last time, how I wanted to make a little modification to these socks. So here's what I did. I have a second one done. Are you ready for this? Oh, I love it. I love it. I'm sorry, the light is not great here. It's not great in mine, but what you're seeing here really is the way they're showing up. So what I used this little mini skein I had, and you can see it's just got a little variegation into it, just a little blips of color. And so it knit up with a little, I know what happened. The sun was out, now it went under a cloud. That's why it looks different. Anyway, then I used this yarn. There it is. It's by Bella Fio Yarn. You know I love Melissa's yarn. And it is called Blue Lagoon. I love this red and this blue together. To me, this looks like summer, with this color too. I think we have a real summer thing going on here. So anyway, I made some modifications. This will be a pattern. I'm writing it up because I love it. So here's what I did. I did my ribbing, and then I did a couple of rows, heel flap, and then I made a longer heel flap. That longer heel flap helps keep the sock up on the ankle. So it's not, you know how annoying it is when your socks slip down in your shoes? Oh, I hate that. So I wanted it to be higher in the back. I really didn't want, you know, I know there are patterns, and one of my viewers, thank you so much, gave up a little free pattern in the comments, named a pattern that has a tab on here, and it looks like a great little free pattern on Ravelry. You can check the comments of the last video if you want to find that. But I didn't really want to add a tab. I just wanted a regular ribbing, but I wanted it to be higher. So I added rows in here, which when you add rows, I make a 64 stitch sock, which means my heel flap is 32 stitches, which means I'm picking up 16. But because I added more rows here, that means I had to pick up more stitches. But that worked out perfectly because it gave extra length here and extra stitches to decrease out in the gusset. And because this stitch gorgeous, I think it's gorgeous, stitch pattern, can you see it? Includes slip stitches. Slip stitches tend to tighten. So adding extra gusset stitches helped loosen up, or not loosen up, but gave more room for slip stitching. This sock is a perfect fit for me. Doing this makes it perfect fit. I did one more thing. I usually knit my socks to a little over 7 1/4 stitches and let's say 7.5 stitches. 7.5 stitches. Okay, let me try that again. I knit the foot of my sock to 7 1/2 inches. Maybe just shy of 7 1/2 inches. Then I start my toe. This time I added 1/4 of an inch and went to 7 3/4 inches, then started my toe. Gave me a little more length here, a little more here, and what I ended up with is a perfect fit. So I will put all those notes in the pattern. I'm going to finish writing that pattern, this pattern this week, finish knitting my second sock, get it out to testers. I'm hoping some testers would love to knit it. If you're doing summer sock camp, this would qualify. And we'll get this pattern out this summer yet. Now I want to show you one more fun thing I did. Look at that interesting design right there. I did a little twist stitch on the edges of the heel flap, and I really love that. Just that little extra design. I love just, it makes a pretty design there. So you can look for that coming. And speaking of summer sock camp, summer celebration, last episode, I showed a bag that I wanted to give to one of our viewers. And I asked you to leave a comment about what you love about summer, what you love to knit in summer, what you love to do in summer. And so here's the little bag I made, and I have drawn a winner. I also put in here some cute little stitch markers. They're bee, isn't that cute? A honeycomb and bees. And these are by Nexus Knits. And we have a winner of this little prize. And the winner is Cheryl O. CHERYLO.9098. So Cheryl, if you would send me an email at chitchatknits@gmail.com, I would love to get your full name your address, and I will zip this into the mail and on its way to you. Congratulations. Yay, Cheryl. She left a very nice comment about what she's knitting and about the dandelions I talked about. A lot of you talked about the dandelions, and that made me so happy. Okay, we're still on sock talk. So I wanted to mention again, I know I mention it most times, that I have a thread on Ravelry, the chitchatknits group, it's called a group, chitchatknits group, and I have several threads that we're doing right now. One is the Stash Bash 24, so my little sweater and these socks are all from Stash, so they go in Stash Bash. We also I opened up a thread, and I'm calling it let me look at my notes here to get it right. Happy Days Cabin, and that is our own little knitting sock cabin in our group thread. A lot of us are just participating in Kay Litton's Summer Sock Camp, and I am a sponsor, but this is just my own little group thread where we can show our finished socks. And I opened it up, I think when I podcast last, so less than 2 weeks ago, and we have 20 plus 1 pair of finished socks in there. Yay! So zip over to Ravelry to the group thread and post your finished socks. And, I'd like to send out another bag on the next episode. So please join us in our cabin. I loved it. That one viewer just commented, she said she posted her socks and she said that she earned her bunk in the cabin. Yay! Okay, fun stuff. I am loving knitting socks this summer. However, I must say that I cast this one on, and then I sort of fell off the wagon because another project made its way onto my needles. I'm not sure how this happened. You know how sometimes you're like, yep, I'm gonna knit this, this, and this, and then all of a sudden you look down and you think, well, how did this happen? How did I get off on this? But I'm so glad I did. Let me show you. Now, this is gonna be a little hard to show because right now I have 2 balls of yarn attached to this in 2 different places. So bear with me, okay? I've got it right down here. So I started designing a sweater, a summer sweater. And okay, you have to know this about me. I really love eyelets. I love knitting eyelets. So here's my summer top. I think I'm gonna call it the pop top because I love this pop of green. It's just a little stitch marker. I'm gonna show you close up because see, it's eyelets. I even have an eyelet up here right after, well, I actually used a provisional cast on, knit, and then I went back and picked up and made the I-cord. But I love this little eyelet row right after that neck edge. I think that's so cute. So this has had me obsessed. I cast this on last Thursday. It is Monday. It is Monday noon. And I took care of a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old all weekend. So you know I didn't get a lot of knitting done. And this is how far I am. I've already, I've put the sleeves, what do you call it? When you take off the sleeves. So now I'm just knitting down the body. And then I did pick up sleeve stitches. I've still got this one on my thread over here. But I picked up, because I want to knit the sleeves and then finish the body. Just so I can use all the yarn I have for the body. I'll know how much I have. But I think the sleeves are probably, well, let's see this blouse here. Maybe about this length. Maybe right in there, maybe just a hair longer. That's probably a pretty good length. So, linen blouse from Target. Just bought it. Loving it. Linen, perfect for this time of year. But also perfect for summer, I believe, is this yarn. And let me tell you why. Let me grab a tag here. This yarn is 50% cotton, 50% merino. It's Anchor Bay by Cascade Yarns. 50% cotton, 50% merino. It is 262 yards in 100 grams. So that makes it a DK weight, I guess. The merino wool in there keeps the cotton from being crunchy. I did a pretty good size swatch. I can find it. Sorry, should have that pulled out. Of course, I was just coming up with different ideas here. But once I blocked it, it has a lovely drape and it doesn't feel crunchy. It has a nice texture to it. I'm using a size 6 needle, size 5 for rib. I did for the neck edge and I'll do for the ribbing. So I think it has a good drape. It's going to be a really nice weight sweater. And if I love a 3/4 length sleeve, but I think I will do this one as a shorter sleeve. But a 3/4 sleeve you could definitely take this well into fall. So I am loving this. I think it's so cute. And if it really turns out and I really like it, I'm going to work on grading the pattern and seeing if anyone else would like to knit it. Because I think it's really cute. Texture. I used, like in that dandelion hat I made a few weeks ago, it's a mini bobble. So it's just knit front, knit back, knit front, knit back, and then take your extra strands over the first stitch, extra stitches over. So it's a bobble, but you don't have to do the turning back and forth. And it's not a real prominent bobble. It's just a mild bobble, because sometimes you don't want great big bobbles on your chest. But I love the texture and I love the yarn. Oh, I know what else I was going to say about the yarn. I did buy this on Jimmy Bean's wool, and right now it's $8 a skein. They have not all the colors, but they have quite a few colors at $8 a skein. So I purchased 3 skeins of the purple violet, and they're just numbers on the tag. And then one skein of the lime color. So 4 skeins at $8 a skein is $32. I think that's pretty reasonable for a nice summer sweater and a great fun project to knit. So I felt like that was pretty reasonable. I think the regular price on it is about $11 if I remember correctly. But I think $8 a skein is pretty reasonable. And I'm, of course, I hate to do this on patterns. I hate to leave the knitter having to purchase and then have a whole bunch left over from a skein. So we'll see what happens with this, but I may also include like a mini pattern that would use the other color, because I do think that that accent color adds a lot. I love those 3 stripes, simple stripes. But it would make a cute pair to use the lime and then accent with purple for a little pair of fingerless mitts or something. So I may do a little bonus pattern that would help knitters use up that extra yarn. We'll see what the future holds. In the meantime, I can't stop knitting on this, and I think it's going to be a couple days and I'm going to have it done because I love it. So anyway, tell me your thoughts. I know there's so many patterns on Ravelry. Oh my gosh, you could just go crazy. But to me, I love the design process. I love knitting. I love the yarn. I love the ideas. And you know, I'm a retired educator, and so I like the challenge of not only the knitting, but figuring it out and then putting it down so that other people understand. I've always enjoyed writing, and so to me, this is a good way to spend my retirement and keep my brain going, as well as do something that I think is really fun. So let me know what you think about my sweater, and I'll hopefully be done in just a few days. Oh, love it. All right, that's my obsession of the last few days. Crazy. I have another little project I'd like to show you. This is not knitting. I know some of you are also stitchers, and I have been a quilter for years and years and years, and I have a vast stash of quilting fabric. And I was camping with my girlfriends, and I decided to make some English paper piecing little hexie blocks. Now, these, here's the size of this is a bigger, a lot of the papers that I've used before are like 1 inch, I think, but I think these are 2 inches, if I remember right. So I love that. I do have an antique quilt that has these big hexies on it, and I have always loved that one. So I just thought I'd start putting together some blocks, and I'm just doing them in colors. I cut some more out. I just, you know, cut some out, prepare the papers, have them stacked up, ready to stitch. So if I feel like just a no thinking project, I can just, or great for just visiting, you know, with somebody, sitting and visiting. I was talking to someone on the phone the other night, and I almost stitched up this whole one just on a long phone conversation. So this is another project I want to work on this summer. I don't know what's gonna, you know, usually a hexagon quilt has pieces between the different colors. I don't know what's gonna come in there. I don't know, but I'll figure that out as I go, and hopefully use up some more stash. All right, that's about it for the projects. Again, in life, topics, regular life, I'm having a great time visiting my little grandkids, playing with them, playing in the pool with them. I had a wonderful birthday. Thank you so much for the birthday wishes. It was a great time. I went camping with girlfriends. We go a couple times a summer, and we call it quillamping because our original idea was that we would bring sewing machines, we would sit at picnic tables and quilt. And we did that the first time we went, and then we haven't done it since. But we go twice a summer. I think this is our 3rd summer, and we just have a great time chatting and stitching, chatting and stitching and chatting and stitching and just having a great time together. Cheryl O.9098, will you please send me an email? I'd love to get this bag in the mail to you as soon as I can. So send me a little email. And then also as a reminder, get those sock patterns, get those socks knit up and join our group in the Hazy Days cabin. I don't know if I mentioned this, but all Chit Chat Knit sock patterns, all Chit Chat Knits sock patterns on Ravelry are 50% off through August 31st. So if you are looking for a sock pattern, please check them out. You do need to use the code SSC24, Summer Sock Camp 24, to get the 50% discount, but I hope you will check them out. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you're enjoying all your summer knits, and I hope you take time to enjoy the wildflowers. Bye for now. See you next time.